Well, let's talk about other things that are happening here.
Uh-oh! Fractured Fairy Tales is back.
Oh, then it ends with someone getting shot. What the is that about?
It may end up that way again if you're not careful.
It's all fun and games until you get shot. Jim, breaking news as we are recording.
Oh, not again. That gets us into trouble.
Fightful Select is reporting that Mercedes Moné is expected to appear for AEW in March. A lot of people have been talking about her for a while. She's been injured. There was word that she was talking with WWE when Triple H took over after Vince. The other word was maybe she wanted a little more money than they thought they wanted to spend. But here's the news. Do you think it's something that will help AEW?
Well, see, if I say no, then it's like I'm saying, Mercedes Moné ain't worth shit. And that's not the case. I don't think the reincarnated corpse of Mildred Burke could make a difference in AEW's business. It's not the talent's fault anymore. It's Tony, it's the booking, it's the creative. It's now the downward spiral of the entire company, the big buildings that aren't filled up and the fucking TV that people aren't watching and the general malaise that's set onto all of this. So I believe that Tony will give her more money than the WWE would because they don't need her as badly. Tony doesn't recognize that all of the problems that he's caused and, as brought into being are going to prevent her from making any fucking difference, just like nobody else had. We just mentioned Paige, Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, this one and that one and the other one, Edge. They brought in Edge, the ratings went down. It doesn't matter about the talent. So, yes, I can believe he's paying her more money for less fucking work and less control over anything that she may want to do otherwise. And so that's probably the best thing for her to do. As far as continued long-term being one of the biggest stars in the wrestling business, for her, that day is over. Because now the longer she's out of the WWE and, the more she's in this, you can't deny that more people thought that Paige was a big deal before Paige came back and showed she wasn't a big deal on this program. So that's what's going to happen here. Mercedes Moné is going to come in and however long it's going to take, she's not going to be a big deal. And, that'll be the end of that. I'm sorry, am I too doom and gloom here? Or am I just being realistic?
No matter what you think, she's a star. She's over. When she's not on TV, people were demanding her. She kept herself out there in the public eye, even with a new name, wrestled for Stardom, got hurt, or wrestled for New Japan, I forget, or whatever the difference may be. If she wants all this money and just wants to do her thing and be a star, AEW is the place. If you want to make money, be in a more structured environment that may not feel as chaotic, which is crazy considering the last week, but all things considered.
Yeah. And stay a big star for years to come rather than be trading off you were a big star and now you're here.
This is a new era. There's no Vince. And I don't know anything about her negotiations with WWE, so I'm just throwing something out there. But looking at what they did for Vince on the way out, looking for what happened to The Rock, looking at what kind of deal someone like Brock Lesnar has or other people, if you were her, negotiating with them to come back under the idea that they wanted you back, they recognize you're a star, they want all the star power they can get, do you demand the rights to ownership of your name? Because that's the reason she became Mercedes Moné. I mean, her real name is Mercedes, but everyone knew her as Sasha Banks until they didn't.
I don't think she's important enough to them. That maybe that was one of the sticking points. I think at this point, they don't want to set a precedent, I would not imagine. Yes, you can give The Rock the rights to his name, along with $30 million to be on the board of directors. She's not going to be on the board of directors. She's not a rock level celebrity in any field. Do they want to set the precedent that for the rank and file talent, just because they've gotten over in the past, even though they're doing, business just fine without them, do they, we'll give you your name too? Do they want to set that precedent and make all these other people, every time their deal is up, start grumbling about that as a sticking point? I don't think she's worth it. Don't start that. That's one thing that Vince McMahon was cognizant of, is he didn't want to give a lot of people in his locker room a chance to grumble because he did something for somebody that he didn't do for, I'm talking legally. Everybody's going to grumble about their push or the level they're put at on the pay-per-view card or whatever. But I'm talking about the contracts and legally and upsetting. That's why he didn't want to do the invasion angle. He didn't want to upset his salary structure. So I don't see she's worth that. Do you?
It's hard to say because, again, she's someone who got to do things outside of wrestling. She was on one of the Star Wars themed shows on Disney Plus, which is a pretty big deal. I don't know. Again, I have different thoughts about women's wrestling and where it is today than other people do. Mine's reality-based as opposed to Fantasyland-based. I don't know. But again, if she wants to just jet set around and be a star, make lots of money, and not have to do anything she doesn't want to do, AEW may be the place. Especially if she has friends there. I mean, that's the one thing with WWE. People like Bayley, she has friends there. She may not have that, or I shouldn't say that, but it'll be a different world and a different environment than everything she's used to.
And meanwhile, Naomi just came back. Because she walked out with old Sasha.
She was so radiant, she was glowing.
Yes, she was positively fucking translucent or phosphorescent or whatever the phrase would be. Tumescent, I don't know, but so that it was solidarity at the start, and then Naomi, I think, saw, well, fuck, you might get a heck of a deal from the billionaire rich kid, but mine might not be so good, and I'm not as big of a star as I want to be yet. So she went back to try to get bigger.